2019. You're tuned into Saving the Niger Delta with Annkio, Briggs on 89.9 Radio Garden City, Port Harcourt, the treasure base of the nation. Well, I hope you've all gotten back to your various places of work or whatever you have to do today after a one-day holiday that we have all enjoyed. The topic, there are so many topics out there today, and I suppose throughout the week on various radio stations and TV stations, and perhaps even people who stand and read newspapers free of charge. But it's definitely the ongoing topics now. The first one is the great idea and the wonderful idea, as far as I am concerned, and a lot of people who should understand the issues, should be concerned, is the fact that the River State people now own 45% interest in the oil mining lease identified as the OML 11, which is situated in Ejema Ibubu community in Eleme local government area, and the adjoining Ogoni and other communities of River State. Now, the unfortunate and devastating incident that happened in Ogoni and in Ibubu in Eleme is something that I personally am familiar with. The spill is on record to have happened in 1970, just after the war. And I became aware of it when I came back home in 1998 and started my environmental activism with ERA, the Environmental Rights Actions, which was headed by people like Nimo Bassi, the late Toronto Douglas, Isaac Oswaka, Felix Yodulo, people like Anyako Nsurumovu, people like a name Ledumite, and so many other people who were on ground in 1998 and previous to that, during the late Ken Sarawiwa's issue, an eventual hanging of Ken Sarawiwa, which the governor of River State quite extensively gave the information, the background information of Ebubu, the Ebubu oil spill. Now, personally, I have been to the Ebubu oil spill several times with people like Maurice Alagwa, with international journalists, and even the Nobel laureates that came into the Niger Delta, where I was also very active with the participation of the then very concerned Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka, and then subsequently later on in the years during the Jonathan era, I organized my organization, Agape Birthright, organized a protest to the National Assembly, and Ebubu and the spills in Ogoni land were part of the presentation that we made to the National Assembly, where the then chairman of the environmental committee, then who subsequently became the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, during the last 8 National Assembly. And on the 1st of October, coincidentally, on the 1st of October, the visit across the Niger Delta, which took in River State and Bayelsa, came on board, and I was part of the people that facilitated it. It was the protest that made the National Assembly, the president then, David Mack, to insist that the Committee on the Environment visited the Niger Delta to take in the issues that the environmental protests raised to the National Assembly. So I am very, very familiar, personally very familiar and very passionate about the Ebubu spill that subsequently led to, even today, if you go to Ebubu, and it was in Ebubu that the Senate, the then committee chairman of the environment, Bukola Saraki, missed his step and fell, literally fell, and his ankle was soaked in crude oil and mud in the area where, and that picture is actually on the internet, and a lot of people during campaign brought it up and said, oh, is the road leading to his community in Kwara State. It's not true. It's most untrue. It was taken in Ebubu where he missed his step and literally fell down. So I am very, very happy, because when we say that we want restructuring, this is what we mean. Because if we have a fully and properly restructured Nigeria, then this is what should happen. That state governments, on behalf of the indigenes of the state, on behalf of the state, on behalf of you and I, on behalf of Ogoni people, on behalf of Eleme people, on behalf of Ikore people, Egi people, whether oil producing or not, on behalf of the state, should be able to do. We should be able to purchase, now that Shell is selling off whatever oil wells that they feel is no longer viable, or that they feel that they have to sell off for whatever reason. Even, for instance, the refinery that is in Eleme, that refinery, and the other one, what's the name of the other, the one that makes fertilizer? Okay, Indorama. Okay, so when these national assets, so-called national assets, and for me it is arguable because it belongs to the people of Rivers State, but if we restructure, then these things will actually belong to the people in whose states that these things are found. So if they are going to sell off the refinery, if they're going to sell off the fertilizer in Darama, or whatever it is that government has a hold of, that is in any state, but let us stay with River State and to an extension the Niger Delta. If the government, who is a 60% shareholder between the oil companies, in this case Shell, if they want to sell off anything, if Total or Ajib or anybody wants to sell any asset in the Niger Delta, in any of the states of the Niger Delta, the people of the states and the state itself should have first option for first refusal. It is only when the state government says it is not interested that outsiders can come and buy. Now, if River State, for instance, says it is not interested, that does not mean that Akwa Ibom or Delta State or Bayelsa State should not be interested. So the first option should go to the people of the region, the people of the state, the people who have suffered horrific environmental devastation that by all accounts will remain to a very, very long time, will remain at the pose of devastation. So when oil wells, gas, anything to do with natural resources that is in the River State or any of the oil producing states, Niger Delta, for instance, the 6 Niger Delta states, the state must have first option. The individuals of the state, like you and I can have, if I want to, I should have the opportunity to bid for whatever that is up there for sale. And So giving option to non-Niger Delta people should be unacceptable. It should not be accepted by any law. It should not be, if we're talking about equity and justice, it should not be accepted. If people, workers, and this is the truth. The truth is that people who work in Shell or these oil companies, but particularly Shell, that are not Niger Delta people, actually do get together and form a company, register it, a limited company, and then bid for these things quietly within their system, without the state government or the indigenes knowing about this. So for instance, like in the case of Ebubu, if the government did not know, it would not have indicated interest. If the government did not indicate interest, people who are not Niger Delta people would have bought this 45% shares of Ebubu, the rights, the interest rights in the OML 11 that is in Ebubu. So for me, the fact that the state government has been able to buy it shows very clearly that this is what we are talking about. And I commend Governor Wike highly. I commend him highly for being able to do. He didn't buy it for himself. If it turns out tomorrow that he bought it for himself, we will not accept it. But we know that he didn't buy it for himself. He bought it for Rivers State government. I think that is highly commendable. Instead of people from other states or people from other parts of Nigeria that have never set foot in the Niger Delta, do not appreciate the sufferings that we have, the people of Ebubu, the people of Eleme, the people that are affected by that spill have gone through. I think it is so commendable. I can't express my joy at what has happened. And it shouldn't stop here. The Rivers State government, any other government that comes in after Governor Wike, that should take this on board, that anything, and as we are insisting that we restructure Nigeria, if we don't restructure Nigeria, then this type of thing will be denied us. And so now that it is clear that this is possible, there are so many other things that should be up for consideration. Our lawmakers should keep their eyes open on the bill to do with the claim, the attempt by federal government to want to claim our waterfronts, to want to take our land that has water going through it, any river or creek or whatever. The lawmakers in Rivers State must keep their eyes on the ball and begin to do something about that at the state level and at the National Assembly level. I want to suggest to our people, first and foremost, that if you have not read the speech of Governor Wike on the 30th of September to the people of Rivers State, it is very, very important that you read it. The whole text. The problem with our people is that we don't read. We don't look for information. When we just go by what we hear somebody else says and draw our conclusion. No. As I'm talking to you now, I have in the palm of my hand on my phone the total text of so many pages of Wike's speech, and it is titled, "We will continue to advance the state's interest, security and prosperity for all." Now, as far as I'm concerned, that text, that speech by Governor Wike should be placed side by side with the speech that the president read, because Governor Wike is referring to the state's interest, and by extension is referring to Niger Delta interest. But let's stay with Rivers State. The state interest. But I always bring Niger Delta in because the quicker, the sooner our governors of the 6 Niger Delta states work together for the interest of the Niger Delta region, irrespective of their parties. I don't care about parties, irrespective of the political party that they belong to and they came into power from. What should be paramount is the interest of Rivers State, is the interest of Rivers State people, it's the interest of the future and the security of Rivers State. Now, when you look at the issue of security, for instance, in Nigeria, we don't need to go into it. I don't need to disagree or agree with anybody or the president or whatever. When we talk about security, the insecurity in the northern part of Nigeria that has extended into certain parts of southern Nigeria, southeast and southwest, mainly, majorly, but also the Niger Delta region. These insecurity are all over the place. Now, the insecurity is all over the place because, one, our borders are porous, and two, our state borders is not effective. It is invisible, just as Nigeria border actually is invisible, according to the governor and so many other people, by the way. But according to the governor of Borno, is it the governor of not Benue, and is it Borno, that said that the Fulani people from all over Nigeria should come into Nigeria and partake of to partake. I'm sure the listeners know, because I really want to kind of go through it. But if you read and you are informed, you will know what I'm talking about. Now, when our borders outside that border with external countries are so porous, and our borders by our constitution also, our internal borders is also porous, because, like, for instance, Delta State cannot have, and I don't see any reason why anyway, and that's why we're asking for state police, and that's why we're asking for restructuring, because that way Delta State, for instance, can have her border post between Edo and any other state that she borders with, so that she knows who is crossing in from Bayelsa, who is crossing in from Edo into Delta State. And that way, if they are moving on to Rivers State, Rivers State or Bayelsa State should know that these people are coming in from Delta State and they are coming onward to Rivers State. But we don't have any form of identification. And yet, every year, as far back as I can remember, every year, money is voted for in the budget for customs, for immigration, for identification processes and all of that. And yet, if you stop 10 people on the streets of Port Harcourt today, right now, if you go to Creek Road Market, if you go to Vegetable Garden, if you stop 10 people on the streets of Port Harcourt today, you will be shocked to find that maybe only 2 may have any form of photo identity on them. That's horrific. That shows that there is no security on ground in Rivers State. If you cannot identify somebody, if you cannot look at a piece of paper and look at the person's face and know that truly this is that person, whether it's whatever it is, but you must not actually use driver's license. Is not identification. It is driver's license. Voter's card is not identification. It is voter's card. Passport and identification card is really the real process of identifying yourself. So now, if we restructure Nigeria, then all of these things that the president spoke about, insecurity, the issue of road, the issue of development, and all of those things should not, the development of Rivers State should not and must not, and it doesn't make sense that it should be the business of federal government if we truly are running a federation. So it's either Nigeria changes its name from the Federal Republic of Nigeria and call it whatever else that suits it at this particular time, or really federation should be practiced. True federalism should be practiced in Nigeria. And so the fact that we do not have any form of identification of our people to know whether they are Nigerians, how do you say that people who are not Nigerians can come in and benefit from whatever program that is on ground, that is put there for Nigerians? Look, we are not running Nigeria and taking so much trillions from the Niger Delta to put into the budget of Nigeria so that the rest of Africa can come and benefit from it. Then in that case, all those countries should also be the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so that we know that they are not that they are Nigerians. So if you're not a Nigerian, and there are ways that there are ways and circumstances that make you a Nigerian. It is in the Constitution. And again, when we refer to the Constitution, we must not forget that the Constitution is really a warped Constitution. And that's why some of us are arguing and screaming and shouting and weakened by the fact that the Constitution, the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, is not a constitution that is favorable to a united Nigeria. It is not favorable to the states. It is not favorable to the to all the ethnic nationalities. It is only favorable to the few that sat down and wrote the Constitution for the rest of us to operate, but it actually favors a particular area. So these are things that we can no longer run away from these things. So if there are any other oil wells, oil concession that is for sale and it is in Rivers State, I will highly commend everybody to say to the Rivers State government that, as a matter of fact, our lawmakers must, in Rivers State, must put it into law that anything that is being sold in the open for that is in Rivers State, it must first be offered to Rivers State government and the people of Rivers State. If this is done, then we can begin to see the activities and the results of what will happen if we actually are able to restructure Nigeria, so that the way things are done is changed, and that what is wrong with us looking for things that will favor us? Nothing is wrong with that. We must look for what is in our favor in this country, within the Constitution, within the law. And so if for instance another oil well comes up for sale, and say that oil well is I don't know, that oil well say is in Egi, for instance, then it should be on open offer so that the people of Egi can also bid for the oil. Rivers State government is not it does not have the technology, but it can acquire the technology that will allow it to participate in drilling for oil and even opening a refinery, a Rivers State government refinery. So I see no reason why these other governors should not copy what Governor Wike have done. And because the environmental devastation, I have said earlier that everybody should go back and read. Get it on your phone through WhatsApp or on Facebook, but through WhatsApp is good because I have it on WhatsApp. Go and have it transferred to you on WhatsApp if you're on WhatsApp, and read the speech, the address to Rivers people by Governor Wike. Governor Wike has made a lot of commitment to Rivers people, even in that speech, that we can hold him to, encourage him, work with him to make sure that these dividends of democracy that he obviously is aware of and have been able to deliver to other local governments in Rivers State, and in his swearing in on the 29th of May this year. Some of the things he has said since then have been in line with this. That is to say that, of course, if he's built, okay, for instance, look at the Opopo, the Port Harcourt or whatever Opopo Road, where people, I never thought, just as I never thought that I could see a time when cars would drive to Abonima because there was just no bridge and we're going from Abonima Wharf. But now we drive to Abonima, we drive to Buguma, we drive to Degema. Before it was not possible. Idama, people of Idama and all those places are able to drive. Now, I never thought that Opobo people would be able to drive, because I didn't even know that there was a road that you could turn into, you could open up and it's a bridge and people can drive into Opobo. Today people are driving into Opobo. Opobo people cannot say that they have not seen dividends of democracy. They have that road alone. But more should go to them, other things should go to them, and more should come to other people that don't have what Opobo people have. So I want to encourage us as Rivers people to continue to make the demands that is needed to be made on the Rivers State government, not by insinuation or by saying negative things, but by actually demanding rightfully that these things be done. And when will these things be done for these people? I'm sure that the government of Rivers State will be able to put a timeline on most of the things that the local governments are able to demand on them. So I want to suggest that every local government, I don't care political party, every local government, even my own local government, the riverine local governments, they should be able, the upland local governments that have not gotten things that they think they should have, should be able to make a presentation and say, we need this, we need this, we need this. Maybe what the government wants to do may not be what they think they need. They should discuss with the government and get what they want and what is going to be sustainable for them to move forward, so that any other government that comes on board, we will take it from there. We'll move forward from there. It's not this government come, they abandon what the other government has done because it wasn't finished. No, that's not development. That is not democracy. What democracy is that whatever Wike does not finish, somebody else coming along, that should be what they will finish in that local government before they even take on any other project, or they take on a new project, but they must also at the same hand finish the one that the government before have started. And I don't want a situation where somebody will come in and say, oh, this one has not been. Yes, if they are not there, go, let us take it to the government. It's not to Annkio, Briggs. I am just making suggestions, and I have not visited all the local government areas in Rivers State on issues of development. Maybe I should, but all I'm trying to say here is that primarily, apart from the issue of security responsibility, development being the responsibility of the state government, because that's what they came on board to do, and the education of our people and human development and all of those things, that is their responsibility to us. We also should be able, as a people of local government areas, should be able to make demands, not to complain, oh, see, he has done this one for this local government, he didn't do it for us because he doesn't like our face, he doesn't like our local government. No, if he has done something for one local government and you think it should also be done for you, or something else should be done for you, you go, you confront, not violently or whatever, but you take your issue to the God. It's your right. It is your right, and it should not be diverted through a party. It is not party, because whether we like it or not, it is only one political party that is in the government of Rivers State. I don't know if there are other political parties that maybe hold other posts, like maybe senator or House of Rep or whatever. But whatever the case may be, the government of Rivers State is the government of the day. So when before I used to say, if they build road, why should I congratulate them? Is what they are supposed to do for us. But this one of buying this thing, I think this is the first time this is being done in Rivers State since 1999, since Dr. Peter Odili's government. So if that is the case, then for me it is the beginning of a good thing. Now, very quickly before I call out the lines, going back to the position of the federal government based on what the president has said yesterday. So many things were said, but what is for me, what should be of great concern to us, because development did not come to us in the last tenure. I doubt if it will come to us. Now, what should be our concern is the issue of security. The issue of security should be our concern, because if we are not concerned about the issue of security, it is very subtle and the undertone is very clear. But we must be concerned of how a lot of things is happening under the guise of one Nigeria, under the guise of everybody is a Nigerian, so this type of movement is allowed. No, because some issues are coming up, things like things that have happened in Bonny some months ago, where between Okada riders who are not Bonny people and Bonny people in Bonny Island, that have resulted in violence, and that could really cause ethnic crisis in Bonny. Now, these things are not things that we should sweep under the carpet. These are not things that we should hide. These are things that must come to the fore, and we cannot continue to have situations where some people feel that they are favored in any part of Nigeria, even over and above even the people in those states. No, it shouldn't be like that. If you've committed a crime, you have committed a crime. Doesn't matter whether you're from this state or that state, whether you're a Rivers man or you're not a Rivers man. If you break the law in Rivers State, it should apply to you, a Rivers man, the way it should apply to any other person, not because somebody in power is from the same area with that person. No, because these are the things that brew this type of violence that will escalate. So it is all our responsibility. But the issue of security, we cannot. I was horrified when they found the 300 or so people chained in Kaduna in a house for years, and under the guise of religion. And I was horrified when I now hear people come on radio to say that this type of thing also happens in other religions. I was frightened, because instead of addressing the unacceptability that something like this can happen in any state, I don't know if it's in Rivers State, but if it happens in Rivers State, I will say the same thing. If it happens in any other religion that I become aware, I will also reject it. But these are the things that we should be concerned about to people. But whether you're from Niger Delta, you're from Rivers State or whatever. But my primary concern, and I make no apologies for it, my primary concern remains my state, remains my my region. Because if my state and my region does not exist in any shape or form, then the fact that we're in Nigeria will not be of any consequence. So I think that should be, even Awolowo said it, that he is a Yoruba man first before he's a Nigerian. So many other, and I think that is the way these things should be looked at, if we're really going to be able to do things for ourselves on that line. On that note, 08 8889. Okay, let me start again. 0818-8589-155. 0809-289-5620. I think I got the first number wrong. It's 0818-8588-155. 0809-289-5620. The lines are open. Okay, so it is very, very important. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Kingsley. What's your point? Quickly, please.
I love this program. I want to center on the area of security that you mentioned. I think that is the first and the most paramount thing to look into security. And then the idea at which the security is also being fashioned in state is something to look into. Situation where security men are looking for a victim, and then what is establishing the community, and then instead of looking at the target, everybody in the community will be like, this thing has happened in MMI, when it's actually looking at something or target in the community, they go in and ensure that those targets being hunted for. And not for innocent ones becoming victim of it on daily basis.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I think that's very, very important. And I think if that happened, the NGOs, lawyers, hello. Hello. Yes. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And please raise your voice. No, please. I can't hear you. Hello. Okay. Well, definitely that is hello?
Yeah.
Hello, yes. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Professor.
Oh, gosh. All right. That cut off. Okay. Well, definitely we cannot allow human rights abuse and illegalities to go on under the guise of looking for criminals. Criminals must be looked for and criminals must be arrested, and the due process, they must go under the due process. Carrying innocent people or every youth or somebody who has not combed their hair or somebody who has a tattoo on their body is not should not generally. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 1 minute, please.
My name is Kingsley. I was the last person I called you last week.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember the last issue we discussed.
Okay, go. You have 1 minute. Bring it up if you want to.
Okay, it's concerning the meeting between the South and Southeast people.
Yes, okay.
How we're going to come together and how is the movement going to be?
Okay.
Because I don't know who is going to go to who first.
Well,
that is the main thing, because it is a serious matter, because that includes all the things that we are discussing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the main paramount issue we should be discussing, because every other thing lies beneath.
Okay.
So that is the main thing. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's interesting and commendable that that you're thinking along those lines, because it's like a marriage, whether you like it or not. And if you see somebody you like and you want to marry, you have to find out who that person is, who their parents is, and all of those things. So you're on the right track, and I am very sure that there are moves. I know that I am making some moves. I know that other people are making moves. It's not a secret. It should not be a secret if South people or Niger Delta people, or if Ikore people want to speak with Kalabari people, or Kalabari people want to speak with Ogoni people, or the whole of the ethnic nationalities in Niger Delta want to speak with Igbo people. It should not be a secret. We are all Nigerians, and we have a right to association and free speech, but we've been cowed for a long time. But I take that into consideration very, very highly, and we're doing something, and when it's right, it will come out in the open. The elders, some people, some other bodies are already doing it, but I do appreciate your eagerness for it. Thank you very much.
Okay, please, one more thing.
Yes.
This meeting between the Southeast governors and Southern governors, has it been going on for a very long time now?
Well, I mean, it should have been. It started a long time, but I think the governors really, I can't speak for the governors, and if they've been doing it and they don't put it out as information, we will not be aware. If they meet tonight or last night in let us say quietly in government house, I'm not saying they did, but I'm saying if they did, if they don't tell us, we will not know. So we cannot say that they have not, and we also cannot say that they have. But what we can do is call on them like you're doing now. You're showing very keen interest. You know, they should. The governors of the Southeast, the South, and even the Southwest, all the southern governors should meet. The Niger Delta governors should meet. The Ndibo governors, all the governors should meet, because the interest should not be political party. The interest should be the Igbo people, the Niger Delta ethnic nationalities, the Yoruba people. You know, because fortunately for us in the Niger Delta, I shouldn't say fortunately for us, we're many people. We're Ogoni, we're Ikwere, we're Ijo, we're Shekiri, Urobo, Ibibio. You know, we're many people. And if Nigeria say that their numbers is what is good for Nigeria, then I think that Niger Delta people, Middle Belt people that have so many ethnic nationalities amongst them, and the Hausa people that own the north are also in the right position. So there is a need for us to know that we have to meet. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, my son.
I appreciate your effort.
Thank you very much. Okay, that is on the issue. Well, I hope that somebody who is listening will be able to tell. Hello.
Good morning to you, the Amazon.
Good morning. You don't wake up. Okay. How you doing?
Well, for this morning, I suppose they well, though.
You did well in Jesus' name.
But I'm payment to that. I don't say person wrong with the cash. So.
Even the food self, they come.
Thank you very much, man. Well, for this morning, just like, let me start from the issue of security briefly. Just like one of the things I said earlier, I think
yeah.
I think the issue of security, especially at River State, should be looked into. If the governor donates gunboats to Operation Sting,
yeah.
Where are the gunboats?
Exactly.
I can tell you that even on a daily basis, persons who fly the funny roads tell you that they don't see the gunboats. So they see the ones that escort some of those persons with the multinationals, you know, those companies and their facilities. And that's why most of us did talk about restructuring. Because when my governor talked about Operation Sting, I asked a question. If you take a dog from your house and you bring in a cat, is there any difference? Because that launching is to be executed by the same personnel of the Nigerian police force. What if they decide to assign the gunboats outside River State? What will my governor do? The good thing is that the neighborhood watch is about to come on stream.
Absolutely.
So, for that, like they say in Nigerian movies, to God be the glory. But on this other issue of acquiring shares for ML11, I believe, I think that this is the one good news that when the day I heard it, I said to myself, thank God. Because the truth is, this is how we can change the narrative.
Yeah.
As a government, if you can acquire such shares, you have a say when it comes to employment.
Yeah.
You have a say when it comes to transfer of technology.
Yeah.
The benefits are multifaceted. From this acquisition, there's every possibility that you can go outside the shores and bid for oil drilling jobs.
Yeah.
And based on what you've done with your own, you can get the job.
Of course.
And just like you said, from here,
why can't we have a refining plant of our own?
Yeah.
These are the issues. As far as I'm concerned, this is one good news my governor has told me. Even though you say the road will reach my community, even if only that one, but we thank God.
No, now go thank God and then ask for more. That's what I talk.
Because the truth is, definitely thank you for the one you do. There's just possibility to do more.
Thank you.
So for me, I believe that we have to change the narrative.
Yeah.
While we wait for restructuring, because I believe that is the ultimate for us on this side of the divide.
Yeah.
But with this, I pray that we get it, the River State government gets it,
yes.
And then let's start from here. It will be like a springboard.
Yes.
And I believe others will take. After all, they say Annkio has their own airline. So if we have our own refining plant,
yes.
Our own dry dock,
yes.
To maintain the LNG vessels,
yes.
Have a fabrication company this side of the divide where you can manufacture tools for maintenance for most of the multinational companies. Talk about even the transport firm, at least.
Thank you.
We get all this one. I think River State will be like California,
yes.
That is even richer,
yes.
Than so many countries.
That's
Thank
great.
You very much, Amazon.
Thank you. God bless you, my brother. Well, definitely, the issue of let me start by the advice that I have given to other people. Definitely, I know that before this tenure ends, but I hope, because we have 2 months going in this remaining in this year, I have no doubt that come January 2020, when the season is dry, that road from Emoha Junction going to Buguma, Abonima, all those places, I know that it will be a smooth ride. I believe it will be a smooth ride. I'm just saying it now, that I believe so, and it shall be so in Jesus' name for the 3 LGAs that are there, so that we can have a smooth ride with our vehicles. Now, having said that, I think we're like 5 minutes into the hello.
Good morning.
Hello, yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Peter calling from Port Harcourt.
Okay, your name? Peter, Abi?
Peter, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm here to correct an impression. That plant is not in Dorama. It's NAFCON. I think it's NAFCON.
NAFCON, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. It's NAFCON, no, it's my people here that were mounting Dorama.
I to even go for the bidding too.
Yes.
It will be of great advantage to the river people.
Yes.
To even put employment and the food on the tables of the youth and the evenings from our technicians.
Yeah. Well, my brother, even before he bought this one, me, I know that Governor Wike has capacity for a lot of things, and but this one was a nice surprise. So even that one you're saying, don't be surprised if it's already in the workings. I don't know, but I'm hoping. Amen. I like it. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. It's so, I mean, if you truly, hello? Okay. If you truly understand what this means, this step, this achievement that he was able to achieve, I don't know how he achieved it, but hello? Hello? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Your phone is very low. I can't hear you. Good morning. Hello? Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes the volume of phones are like that. I can't hear what he's saying, you know. Hello?
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Hello, yes, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 1 minute, please, and this will be the last call.
My name is
I can't hear you. Go ahead.
I want to say a few things to the governor.
Okay.
What he has done, if we should have 1 or 2 projects like this, I think it's better for us.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm actually from Imo State, but I'm so glad, and I'm happier than a river man. So yeah.
Thank you. God bless you. It is. I hope that the governor will get to know that people, the ordinary people like me and so many other people believe that this is the right thing, and the fact that he was... Hello? Hello? Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? 1 minute, really.
I'm calling from Rivers.
Did anybody go on? Go on. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I hope people who work... Hello? Okay. I hope that people who work with Rivers State government... I don't work with Rivers State government, but like I said, I want to know what Rivers State government does in my name. I'm not a politician, but I want to know what politicians do in my name. And when they do right, I will say it and I will commend them. And when they do wrong, I will also say it and I will commend them. But right now, in the Nigeria of today, 2019, from 2015 to 2019 and 2019, as we're looking forward, what is of paramount interest to me as a Rivers daughter is Rivers State. And so anything that will bring calm, anything that will bring security and unity to Rivers State is what I am after. I'm not interested in political party. I'm not interested in political party whether my brother is the chairman or is not the chairman of that political party. I don't care. What I care about is my state, and my people in this state is the most important thing I care about. And the person who is running the state on our behalf, in whom we have vested our own political powers, and that is the person of Governor Wike. He's not an angel by a long shot, but sometimes you definitely will not sit quiet and be silent over things. And I believe that the strategies of Governor Wike for now is a strategy that we must take. We have no other choice but to work with those strategies. Rivers State belongs to Rivers people. We know that Nigerians should have access to Rivers State, but not to the extent of taking Rivers State away from Rivers people. On that note, thank you very much for tuning in. We look forward to your tuning in again next week by God's grace. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Bye.